What do you do when a friendship you believed in starts feeling shaky and no one really taught you how to handle that kind of ache without shutting down? Or what do you do if a friendship starts to drift and your brain starts whispering, here we go again, it's another one, you're the common denominator, aren't you? Well, this episode is for that moment. The space before a friendship feels like it's about to break. That in-between season where something feels off and you're stuck between hope and dread. Where you want to stay grounded, but your nervous system is bracing for rejection. Where you long to stay open, but your heart is starting to armor up again. I want you to know this up front. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just a fellow human being who also has been bruised by friendship disappointments in the past more than once, and yet who still somehow believes that deep and rich and meaningful friendships are possible. I know, because I'm blessed with many around me now. They're not perfect friendships. They may not necessarily be forever friendships, but they're honest. They're mutual. Friendships where integrity and intimacy they're not just buzzwords in our connection. They're how we live together, how we do life together. So let's name the lie that we were sold, and that is, if a friendship is real, it should be easy, right? Or if it's meant to last, it'll just work out. And so when it doesn't, and when someone pulls back or the energy shifts a little bit, we think something's wrong with us, and we assume it's because we weren't enough, because we were too intense, or we were too needy, or too available, or too something. But here's the truth. Friendship is a skill, and most of us, well, we were never taught how to prepare for the parts that don't go smoothly in a friendship. And so we either overfunction or try to hold it together ourselves, or perhaps we withdraw and we start grieving quietly and hoping that it'll all just go away. But what we don't do is we don't prepare enough before that moment. Not in a panicked, everyone's gonna leave me kind of a way, but in a clear-eyed and tender and wise way that says something like, friendships will stretch. Sometimes they break, but I can learn to walk through that without losing my sense of self. So let's talk about what preparation really looks like. Preparation is not predicting failure. No, it's choosing integrity, the alignment where our values and our actions align before things get confusing. It sounds something like this. It says something like, I know who I am even if they forget. Or, I can hold grief and gratitude in the same hand, and if the friendship changes, I will not change the truth of my worth, because that's non-negotiable. Take a moment with me here and pause. Let your body absorb that your worth never changes. Now ask yourself, when was the last time that you pre-decided how you wanted to show up in a friendship? Have you built emotional infrastructure for when things start to feel unstable in the friendship? Or do you only think about boundaries or needs or expectations after the hurt starts to be experienced? We can't always prevent disappointment, but we can build the tools to meet it without collapsing or imploding. And that's not cold, it's courageous, actually. Let's talk about this experience of friendship high. the new friendship high, when you meet someone new and you click, you laugh, you feel seen. There's this like intoxicating hope that says something like, maybe this is the one. Maybe this one will finally stick, and maybe it will. But in that early excitement, we often start to expect more than the relationship has actually earned yet. We fantasize and we assign meaning to too quickly. We give our emotional trust before safety has been built. That's not foolish, my dear listener. It's just human. But if we're not mindful and we start holding people responsible for unspoken expectations that they never agreed to, well, that's not really fair, is it? This is where intimacy needs integrity. That intimacy factor only works when it's grounded in discernment. So ask yourself, am I projecting a friendship future or responding to what's actually happening in this moment right now? Or have I allowed time to test the emotional safety in this friendship? Or am I letting hope lead while also letting wisdom set the pace? Let's ground this in some real tools. And here's a few that I find helpful, that I return to when disappointment comes knocking. I think of some anchor statements that I want to write down, like these truths that I want to hold when the friendship starts to shift. Things like, my needs are not too much, or distance does not define my value, or loss is not always failure. Grieve honestly, my dear listener, not quietly. We don't need permission to feel it. It's okay to mourn a friendship that never quite became what you hoped it would be, even if it technically didn't end. Let your boundaries be that soft landing place instead of a wall. So when you pull back, you can ask something like, am I doing this from fear or from clarity? And what's the most honest and kind version of this boundary that I can practice? Let me just reiterate again, my listener, you are not too sensitive. You're not doing it wrong. You're not broken for feeling big feelings when the connection shifts. You are awake, and you're available. And you're someone who wants to build relationships and friendships that are worth the risk. And that's courageous, that's brave, that's beautiful, it's sacred. In the next episode, we're diving into what to do when someone starts to pull away and how to respond with integrity instead of panic. So make sure, if you aren't already, to subscribe. And if the episode stirred something in you, would you consider sharing it with someone else who may be navigating the friendship fog as well? Until next time, go gently, be kind to yourself. You're doing far better than you think. I'll see you in the next episode.